Hi, everyone. It is time to start reading To Kill a Mockingbird after we saw the wonderful film. We're going to start at the very beginning with chapter 1. Now, we're not going to read this whole thing together in class, although I want you to read it on your own. One of our first assignments is to pretend that we're tour guides for Scout's hometown, and this whole chapter, the whole first part, is about her hometown and how the Finches came there. I'm going to start with these first two paragraphs, then I'm going to pause and we'll move on. Chapter 1. When he was nearly 13, my brother Jim got his arm badly broken at the elbow. When it healed, and when Jim's fears of never being able to play football were assuaged, he was seldom self-conscious about his injury. His left arm was somewhat shorter than his right. When he stood or walked, the back of his hand was at right angles to his body, his thumb parallel to his thigh. He couldn't have cared less, so long as he could pass and punt. When enough years had gone by to enable us to look back on them, we sometimes discussed the events leading to his accident. I maintain that the Yule started it all, but Jim, who was 4 years my senior, said it started long before that. He said it began the summer Dill came to us, when Dill first gave us the idea of making Boo Radley come out. I said if he wanted to take a broad view of the thing, it really began with Andrew Jackson. If General Jackson hadn't run the creeks up the creek, Simon Finch would never have paddled up the Alabama. And where would we be if he hadn't? We were far too old to settle an argument with a fist fight, so we consulted Atticus. Our fathers said we were both right. Okay, I'm going to stop there because the next part is just how the Finches came to Alabama. Now, if we look back to these first 3 paragraphs, you're going to see that we get a lot of information, a lot of exposition for what's going to happen in this book. We know that it happens in the past, right? Oops. And that Jim got a broken arm. And we learned that Jim really liked to play football. So when enough years had gone by to enable us to look back, we know that this story is being told in the future. This is an adult, or at least an older person, looking back to something that happened in the past. So it starts with Jim and whoever at this time, of course, we know it's Scout, but if you had just picked up this book, you wouldn't know that. It's just the speaker, the narrator, telling the story in the first person using I and we. So discuss the events leading to this accident. So this is kind of like the show How I Met Your Mother. I don't know if any of y'all ever saw that, but the whole show, all the years that it was on, it was supposed to be a father telling his children how he had met their mother. And it started years before, and every episode was leading towards him meeting the mother. This is kind of what this book is going to do. We know that the whole book is leading up to how Jim broke his arm. So I am going to stop annotating. And what I want you all to do, if my thingy do will work. I don't want a text box. I want a comment. All right. I want you to Annotate the first 3 paragraphs for in sorry, exposition. What do we find out in these paragraphs that gives us what we need to begin reading the story? Sultry, sultry story. So far we know that somebody's talking. It's somebody with a brother named Jim. It happened when Jim was almost 12. And they're telling the story in the future, looking back. And what got the story started was Jim and this so far unnamed speaker talking about the events that led to him breaking his arm. So take some time and do these first 3 paragraphs, annotate them, and make any notes. You can do creative highlighting and then make little notes here to the right. And then we will move on.